Another episode of The Changeling is upon us, and with it, a new set of mysteries. In this video, we'll be taking a look at episode 5 and breaking down all the little details and clues to find out just what exactly is going on. And my goodness, is my brain about to explode. As always, I've left timestamps below so you can see all the topics I'll be covering. Now let's get into it. For the past few episodes, The Changeling has hinted at the importance of Norway, and episode 5 is no exception. We open on a Norwegian art gallery run by Anders Knudsen. Fun fact, Anders is played by actor William Cashian, who is in the band Future Islands alongside Sam Herring, who plays William. In episode 1, Emma's friend told Apollo that she met a Norwegian photographer while traveling in South America. We'll meet this man who goes by LaKeith. Unbeknownst to him, Emma took a nude photo of herself while he was taking a leak, and only when he was able to develop the photo did he learn what she did. This was the photo where Emma's friend said Emma looked like a sorceress. At this time, Emma still has on her red piece of string, so she hasn't begun what could be a body swap with the witch by the lagoon. But I believe there's some part of this witch laying dormant inside her until that moment the red string is cut, and perhaps this photo revealed a glimpse of that. Now, LaKeith and Anders also saw that photo. Does that mean they've turned into or will turn into someone like William who also saw the photo? Now, LaKeith goes on to sell this photograph to Anders in Norway, where William happened to be traveling. We learned last episode that William grew up in Norway, so perhaps he was vacationing there with his family. For those of you with a keen eye, you can see William with his wife and children way before the big reveal at the end of the episode by the dessert stand. This is combined with a really interesting shot where it looks like some pedestrians disappear through the mirror. This is just a reflection trick, but certainly a conscious choice by the director. Now, William takes an even darker turn this episode, as it's revealed he was the user Kindergarten who posted vile messages on Friendmore like boiling baby Brian. This was sleuthed out last episode since his profile avatar was the same as the necklace that falls off of him after being knocked down by Cal. It appears that William wasn't always this way. It was only after he laid eyes on Emma's photograph in Norway that he began to turn. William speaks fluent Norwegian, and as Apollo is taken out from his cell, he says 3 lines in Norwegian. Bear with me here because I used Google Translate and these could be wrong. The 3 lines are, "It was fun," "Game of chance," and "I'm going to die." So they're all pretty cryptic. William also seems to know all about Cal, reciting her real name and knowing specific details about her past. Whether this is some sort of magical power or gleaned from his friends who apparently have access to CCTV footage is yet to be known. According to Cal and Greta, William's wife, it was William who killed their daughter, driving him to madness in the idea that he can make his family whole again. When Apollo confronts William, we see that he has changed. No longer is he bald and covered in blood, but has turned into his true self, which apparently comes with a new set of hair. But I'm still left with tons of questions. What does William really want? Who are these mysterious friends of his who showed him his true self? All that we really have to go on so far is that he could be some sort of fairy. Apollo's main reason for visiting North Brother Island was to find Emma, who, according to Cal, is no longer there. Not just anyone can gain access to this island. There seems to be some sort of magical spell preventing others from accessing it. William remarked that when he went up and down the river several times, he found nothing, and that it was only when Apollo was with him that the island revealed itself. Cal even states that nothing short of a god could access the island, which is a good thing for Apollo because he often refers to himself as such. I am the god Apollo! Emma arrived at North Brother Island shortly after the death of Brian. She received help from Cal after messaging a mother support group and asking if any other moms felt their child wasn't their own. These women all seem to have suffered the same fate as her. They believe their child isn't their own and end up killing them. Of course, no one would believe any of them, thus this commune for women was established for their protection and to provide a safe space where they can be believed. Emma would live here on and off for a few months, sometimes going back to the mainland to replenish the island's library. According to Cal, Emma willed Apollo here, and it's now up to Apollo, if he so chooses, for the truth to be revealed to him. This truth may have something to do with whether or not their child was actually killed. After all, a mysterious text message that was sent to Emma says, "Got him," implying that some sort of switch was made and the thing Emma actually killed was not their son, but something that had been glamored to look like him. I think the answer to a lot of this show's show's mysteries revolve around Apollo's parents. Apparently, Emma talked to Cal a lot about Apollo's father while she was on the island. What purpose would she have in doing so? There's also this weird connection to the book, to the waters and the wild, which Cal says, quote, tells the truth. This likely has something to do with fairies wanting to steal his child. Lillian is the one, however, who I least trust. Remember, she already lied to Apollo about divorcing his father. But there's this one weird edit that sticks out in my mind. As Lillian goes to touch Emma, it cuts to the old washerwoman putting the string around her arm, almost as if to suggest there is some sort of connection between the washerwoman and Lillian. As Emma's mental health declines, we see certain events from her perspective. Her child, for example, snaps at her and even morphs his face similar to that of the puppet in episode 4. This would suggest that Brian has been glamored. In the closed captioning, Brian is even referred to as the Changeling, but knowing Emma's mental state, she's an unreliable narrator, and as such, it's also possible this is all in her head. Emma makes 3 new wishes. The first, I wish you knew me back then, which could be a reference to wanting Brian to see her before her mental decline. The second, I wish you knew a different mommy, that she is not the great mother for Brian that she thought she could be. And third, I wish she was here. Who could Emma be referring to? Her own mother, perhaps? The one who killed herself in a fire? I also want to take a moment to talk about the carving found in Apollo's jail cell. A carving that reads, they bathe it at dusk, they hide it with guile, at home in the forest, forever lost in the wild. This reads as though it could be a line from To the Waters and the Wild. It's also narrated by Emma, implying that it could have been her who etched it in the pillar. We learned last episode that Emma was a, quote, pain in the ass to those on the island, so it's entirely possible she wound up in this cell for a night or two. If I were to guess what the poem refers to, it would be a child. Brian, for example, was hid with guile or magic. What I found really interesting was the way in which Emma posed for the camera. Now, I can't really show the whole thing or I'll get demonetized by YouTube, but this is not your standard look sexy for the camera pose. It's something very deliberate. Her right hand faces forward while the left covers her genitals. But she's not hiding her body as if being suddenly caught, quite the opposite. This is a woman wanting to be seen. Emma's friend notes the strength and power of this image, calling Emma a, quote, effing sorceress. And as we'll see later, both William and the art gallery owner, both men, seem hypnotized by it. The open palm is one of invitation, almost as if to say, look at the power of my body. Given that Emma will later give birth, I wonder if the left hand covering her vulva is a nod to the power of a woman. I mean, I'm no classical art historian, but let me know what you think below. At the beginning of the episode, the narrator recites an old Swahili saying, quote, whomsoever is not taught by the mother will be taught by the world. This is interesting because Emma's mother died while she was young, implying that she had to be taught by the world. And as we all know, the world is usually a harsher teacher than a mother. Perhaps that's why she doesn't heed the advice of the locals and decides to visit the old washerwoman, even though they warned her not to. Those are all the main topics I wanted to cover in this episode. Now I turn it over to you. I want to hear your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and for more bad takes, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember, I am the God Apollo!